friends, today I'm just planning on what I'm going to make for tea tonight. I'm trying to use up everything and turn things around, rotate everything around for being cost efficiency and avoiding waste, of course, which I don't like. So I've got some nice courgettes. I thought I'm not doing a courgette cake today, but I would do. I have a jar of roasted pepper. I've had it in the cupboard for quite some time, so I thought I'll use those. And I've got a nice big Lloyd Grossman bolognese sauce, so I thought I'll use that. I've got Linda McCartney veggie mince, tomato puree, frozen fresh basil that's been frozen, chopped, and garlic. And basically what I thought I'd just do is slice up all the courgettes, and when I slice them, I really slice them nice and long and wide. Okay, and then at an angle, and I'll put olive oil and lots of garlic on that, and I'll roast those in the oven probably for about 15-20 minutes. Lots of garlic, olive oil and pepper, no salt. When they've got a nice sort of slight brownness on them and they're quite tender, then what I will do is these are in spirit vinegar, sugar, natural flavourings and a bit of water. So I'll rinse these off, and then what I will do is put some chopped onion in a frying pan and some garlic, and I'll drain these and I'll actually pan fry those, and then I'll take those out, put some fresh herbs with the basil in and black pepper, and I'll put that to one side as well. Then with a whole onion and some garlic again, I will pre-fry this veggie mince for about 10 minutes. And then when I've done that, I'm going to add this Lloyd Grossman sauce to it, and then again a full jar full of water to the sauce, and cook it again for about 10 minutes. When that's done, I shall get out a nice deep oven dish, and I will get obviously the lasagna sheet, and I will layer it up. So I'll layer a layer of the courgettes, and then a layer of the lasagna sheet, and then the tomato and mince meat on the top of that, a layer of the courgettes, a layer of the lasagna sheet, and so on until I've filled that pan. When I've filled the pan, make sure I've got some kind of liquid on it to save a bit of that, and do as many layers. I usually do 2 layers, maybe 3, depending on the size of the pan and the ingredients I've got. And then you want to make a cheesy sauce to go on top. If you're not putting a cheesy sauce on, put tin foil on the top, bake it in the oven. I usually put it on about 180, something like that, and it's usually about an hour to an hour and a half. Keep checking until it's all tender and the lasagna is cooked. Serve it with a lovely leaf salad and a slice of garlic bread on the side, if you so wish, and it's really lovely. The cheese sauce, I'll just make that a standard roux, so I shall put 2 tablespoons of flour and a good knob of butter, and a knob of butter is about, I'd say about 45 grams of butter. Melt the butter in a pan, add the 2 tablespoons of flour and stir it till it gets really like a huge ball. Try and cook it off for a few minutes, and gradually add milk. You want to be adding a good pint of milk. It will then thicken up. Make sure you whisk it as it all incorporates together so it doesn't get lumpy. If it gets lumpy, just pour it through a sieve. And then as it's thickening up, add your cheese of your choice, and you can put any cheese that you like in it. Strong cheese, medium, mild cheese, whatever. I've got a little bit of feta, I've got a bit of cheddar, so that'll go in. And then I'll cover it all, the top of the prepared lasagna, with the cheese sauce. Pop it in the oven, and then about 10 minutes before I'm serving, I'll grate a lot of Parmesan cheese on the top, and then pop it back in the oven for a further 10 minutes. And then that is it. A simple but home cooked meal, using up what's in the cupboard already, so it's really quick and fast and easy. And I'm using stuff up and rotating it to try and get these cupboards nearly there, so I can then do the shopping, so that there's nothing in here that's out of date. If I've got any more courgettes left, then I will just grate them down and then incorporate those in the courgette cake, and that's just like a carrot cake, but you omit carrots and use courgettes. It's delicious, especially if you put sort of a lemon or an orange icing on the top. And that's how I use my courgettes. I'll show you at the end so you can see what it looks like, and I hope you'll make this recipe and it's inspired you to sort of look in your cupboards and try and get something made out of your ingredients that are there. If you're struggling for recipe ideas, pop in the Google search, what can I make with the following ingredients, you know, what you want to use up in your cupboard. It often will come up with some nice recipes for you, hopefully. That's what I think anyway. So I'll show you at the end what it looks like. So I'm layering it up, and I've put obviously the mince in, the veggie mince in with the tomato sauce. We've got lasagna sheets, and then the roasted vegetables, and then some of this, and then lasagna sheets, more roasted vegetables, just mixing all the roasted vegetables up as well. Right, more layers of the vegetables, then we're going to pour a layer of the sauce on top, and you want it quite runny because you want all that lasagna sheets to actually cook in the oven. Right, another layer of lasagna sheet on top. Right, so that's the lasagna at the moment. We're going to get that in the oven, and then we've got feta and cheese. We're going to do the white sauce, like I said. Add all that, melt it all in, and then top it with cheese sauce. Pop it back into the oven so it's all nice and golden brown. Well, we're going to make the roux now. So we're melting the butter in the saucepan. When that's melted, you then have to incorporate the tiniest little bit of mustard. Let that melt as well, and you want it so it's running consistency. Then we're going to go in with the flour, and we need round about, this is a big wooden spoon. I'm going to go in with that first. Now ideally chefs would use a whisk. You want to put your flour in and quickly mix it, and you want it over the hob, and you're mixing it so it gets unincorporated, but you also want it to start cooking off a little bit as well in the pan. But it looks like Play-Doh if you ever experienced Play-Doh. Sorry about the white light from overhead. There's like a glare from the overhead light, but I just wanted to show you what that's all about. So you get that little lump like that. Try and cook it for a few seconds, and then you don't get that floury, you know, taste. You can put seasoning as well, but as I say, I put a little bit of mustard in there. And then you need to incorporate your milk. And we're going to try and aim for about a pint. And you're going to have to do it a tiny little bit at a time. Pour a tiny bit of milk in. And I tend to not stir it yet at all. Try and get that milk warmed up a little bit. And then we'll start to try and incorporate it. When you can see that it's getting slightly warm in the bottom of the pan, try and mix it in so it absorbs the milk. When that's done, same again. Just let it just get a bit warm first. Get a bit of heat on it. And as I say, the chefs, they just use a whisk because that way it avoids lumps. But if you're careful and you get a bit of heat to the milk during each stage of adding your milk, you should be okay. If it goes all lumpy at the end of the day, you're going to have to sieve it. And when it's all incorporated, put your cheese in. I've got a saucer full of cheese. That'll go in at the end. And then it should all thicken up, and then we'll put that on the top of our lasagna. So here's the lasagna, and I'm going to put the cheese sauce on the top and put it back in the oven to brown off. Okay, it's all done. Hope you can see it. Nice and bubbly on top. And we're going to serve it now. Right, ready to dish up. I'm going to put some nice olive sourdough on the side and a nice cheesy lasagna. Hope you enjoy. I hope I've inspired you to make that recipe. Have a look in your cupboard and see what you've got and see what you can make for a nice evening meal out of all your bits and bobs. Keep up that rotation going in your cupboards so you don't have a lot of food waste. See you again soon with lots of makes and bakes. Bye for now. And thanks for watching.